Good morning, family. Brian J. Charles of North Memphis, Tennessee. I had made an obligation on Magic Johnson's #1 page that I would do a video this morning. My topic, I wanted to share the topic prior to starting of the video, but I got caught up. I had really just got into bed about an hour ago. Been up, kind of was worked up because I have, as you well know, I have as some of you well know, I have two other engagements. Today I got one later on Dion's page at 3, and then I think I'm just doing one on my page at 5. But you know, me and baby have to meet these obligations on today. We're still not repaired. We believe something is happening there in the most honorable Donald Trump's cabinet. We see a lot happening up there. Miss Bundy didn't meet the requirements, I guess, that Mr. Trump and his colleagues had for her. But they didn't throw her to the dog. She's still moving down in another nice, powerful position within the administration. So I was up this morning, man. My topic is from tragedy to triumph. Of course, we can all identify with the tragedy to triumph concept. I got this book on mythology. I was thinking earlier tonight, and I was trying to figure out just what would I bring forward. I don't want to bring an egoic concept or perspective forward. So I have to try to get down into my soul or my psyche, if you will, and see what it will come forward with. So I'm gonna get right into this daily reflection, because again, me and baby, we got to get out and we got to get it. So today is the 3rd, of course, Good Friday, family. Fantastic Friday, if you will. I'm just grateful another day just to be clothed in my right mind with my health and strength, man. That's a whole lot. My mother used to say that. I used to think she was crazy. That's all she was continuing to wake up and say she was grateful for. Then I looked up. I had went over into Arkansas, and Miss Wyrick took me away from Bill Gibbons, and Miss Wyrick's district attorney office kind of took me away from my mother when I could have been of great service to her. Today, in our daily reflection, accepting our humaneness, we finally saw that the inventory should be ours, not the other man's. So we admitted our wrongs honestly and became willing to set these matters straight. Okay, we're into April now. So April is the 4th month. So now we're into courage. Made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. We're into courage now in regards to the spiritual principle that undergirds step 4 in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. Of course, courage is needed. Somewhere in the big book, I don't have one at hand, but it talks about how we are shot through with fear. Fear pervades every aspect of our lives. And as a result of trying to mask that fear, a lot of us get tangled up in chemical dependency. Who wants to admit that I'm afraid? But the reality is, hey man, fear is just a normal response to this zeitgeist we are operating in. If we ain't got any faith, that's why faith was the principle in step 3. One day at a time. Eventually, we hope to be able to put all these principles in play at once. Unfortunately, just if you're anything like me, I'm just a babe in these sciences. Why is it that the alcoholic is so unwilling to accept responsibility? I used to drink because of the things that other people did to me. Once I came to AA, I was told to look at where I had been wrong. What did I have to do with all these different matters? When I simply accepted that I had a part in them, I was able to put it on paper and see it for what it was: humaneness. I guess that could be humanness, but I think that's humaneness. I am not expected to be perfect. I have made errors before, and I will make them again. To be honest about them allows me to accept them in myself, in those with whom I had the differences. From there, recovery is just a short distance ahead. Again, we're working on courage. as the book states, with courage comes a responsibility to face everything and recover, instead of the national anthem of the chemically dependent person. When somebody don't go do something per se that I want them to do at the time that I want them to do, I'm sore. And then I can go into the national anthem of the alcoholic, chemically dependent person. Fuck it. And there it goes again. I can drift back into the mindset I had as a young child. I used to hear people like Donnie Couch and Jock T and different ones. They would be talking about the mentality of the people that are sitting in their treatment facilities in retrospect. And I would cringe often. I would hear them say, we're sitting in a room with 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70-year-old kids. And I used to always, in somewhere deep inside of myself, I always thought I was a sharp guy. But they were talking about arrested development. And I had to raise my hand when they talking about that, because here I was again sitting in their facility. So, man, we can get caught up and be, look, again, I did a video and I talked about how some people you engage, they still in 84 and it's 2026. A lot is happening, then changed and flipped up and switched up since then. I think back in 84, Dr. Harrington was the mayor, I think, I'm not sure. That's way back there. May not have been him then, but I'm thinking it was. So I'm going to get into this topic, man. From tragedy to triumph. Of course, I'm not going to use anybody's life. I'm not going to even use my life, because when I think about a lot of the characters in the Bible, and that's what I'll read or come out of the Bible, the book of Job, I plan to use chapter 1 in the book of Job to highlight my thesis on today. My topic will be, again, it'll be from tragedy to triumph. So I'm gonna jump right in. I can get long-winded. I'm gonna jump right into this book of Job, and I'm gonna show you how these little things that I've experienced at the hand of this demonic entity, I won't call that person's name this morning. I'm gonna try to keep it clean, quick, efficient, and get on out of here. But of course, you all know I didn't put that Cash App up several times, so you know how to hit it. If I say something that you can use to assist you and your family. Me and baby, we going through. I've been telling you, me and baby is a domestic terrorist victims. We hate to be outside. Hate to be out there flying them signs talking about we aggravated identity theft victims and the people who stealing your identity passing by you in the vehicles. You got to know that's not a real good feeling. So we trying, like you wouldn't believe, to get out of this town and never look back. But we need help out of the Shelby County District Attorney Office to accomplish that. And we believe that is coming. So let me get right into this read. The book of Job is where we'll start, chapter 1. I'm going to have to read that whole chapter in order to convey to you my feelings of what this tragedy can be and how we can still overcome tragedy and make it over into triumph. There was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job, and that man was blameless and upright, one who feared God and turned away from evil. There were born to him 7 sons and 3 daughters. He possessed 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 female donkeys, and very many servants, so that this man was the greatest of all the people of the east. His sons used to go and hold a feast in the house of each one on his day, and they would send and invite their 3 sisters to eat and drink with them. And when the days of the feast had run their course, Job would send and consecrate them, and he would rise early in the morning and offer burnt offerings according to the number of them all. For Job said, "It may be that my children have sinned and cursed God in their hearts." Thus Job did continually. Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came among them. The Lord said to Satan, "From where have you come?" Satan answered the Lord and said, "From going to and fro on the earth, and from walking up and down on it." And the Lord said to Satan, "Have you considered my servant Job, that there is none like him on the earth, a blameless and upright man who fears God and turns away from evil?" Then Satan answered the Lord and said, "Does Job fear God for no reason? Have you not put the hedge around him and his house and all that he has on every side? You have blessed the work of his hands, and his possessions have increased in the land. But stretch out your hand and touch all that he has, and he will curse you to your face." And the Lord said to Satan, "Behold, all that he has is in your hand. Only against him do not stretch out your hand." So Satan went out from the presence of the Lord. Now there was a day when his sons and daughters were eating and drinking wine in their oldest brother's house. And there came a messenger to Job and said, "The oxen were plowing, and the donkeys feeding beside them, and the Sabeans fell upon them, and took them, and struck down the servants with the edge of the sword. And I alone have escaped to tell you." While he was yet speaking, there came another and said, "The fire of God fell from heaven and burned up the sheep and the servants and consumed them, and I alone have escaped to tell you." While he was yet speaking, there came another and said, "The Chaldeans formed 3 groups and made a raid on the camels and took them and struck down the servants with the edge of the sword, and I alone have escaped to tell you." While he was yet speaking, there came another and said, "Your sons and daughters were eating and drinking wine in the oldest brother's house, in their oldest brother's house. And behold, a great wind came across the wilderness and struck the 4 corners of the house, and it fell upon the young people, and they are dead, and I alone have escaped to tell you." Then Job arose and tore his robe, and shaved his head, and fell on the ground and worshipped. And he said, "Naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked shall I return. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord." In all this, Job did not sin or charge God with wrong. Now, if that's not a illustration of tragedy, then, hey man, I don't know where to begin. I'm going to stop the video now. So here brother Job went through all that. And here I'm not going to stop blowing my little horn now about what this lady has done and continue to try to do to my life, me and the missus' life, and holding us up like this. But Job here, obviously, man, his lot was terribly more difficult than mine. I'm not saying that I wouldn't have went against God, and at least got me 1 or 2 little curses in. But Brother Job here, if there's any truth to the scripture, Brother Job stayed faithful to the last breath. I'm not going to get into how Job had to go through all them boils on his body and all the humiliation and all this slander from the supposed to have been his comrades. So I'm going to jump right on over here to, because that spoke for itself. Job right there in tragedy. So we're going to try to get over here into triumph. And for that, my soul chose this because I didn't have a clue what I would do. Y'all know how I get into this long-winded spiel, and I need to go for hours. I look up, I didn't went for 3 hours, 2 hours, and 44. I didn't want to do that today because, again, me and baby got to go and get it. And we going to get it. We got the majority of it now. By the grace of God, man. We glad to be up clothed and our right mind. She laying down. I had her to lay down. Looked like she went to move. As soon as I got to moving, and I was just I be needing the airways to be kind of clear. That way I can be calm and I ain't got to deal. That's why I like to be up in the nighttime. Don't be a whole lot of negative energy moving. I'm a sensitive empath, I found out. So I can feel all kind of stuff. You might try to hide what's going on, and I'm right there. I have this antenna. and it'll focus me in, and then there's really no separation like we've been conditioned to believe. Because Quimby and these guys, I'm going to do a read on the science of mind as well. Because Quimby and these guys, like most Honorable Ernest Holmes, these people, they can hear you from a distance. When I say hear you, they were somehow able to contact this subjective aspect of ourselves. Dr. Carl Jung called it the collective unconscious. And Jung, my guy Ernest Holmes and Phineas Quimby and them, they called it the subjective self, if you will. So I'm going to get into this read, and I'm going to close this little get together this morning out. I'm glad Magic Johnson provided me this platform. Magic Johnson has helped me to get my story before the people of Memphis, Tennessee, because prior to Magic and Dion coming in there in any support of me, that's why we got this slow connection. She's a diabolical malfeasance, but I ain't gonna let that stop me. At any rate, man, I appreciate that. I be looking in certain places and I look up Magic, and Magic got me right there with his heavy heels. He right there and got me, little peon. He got me right there beside him. So they got the respect there because Magic is no throwaway. Magic is nobody who our society can make like he's no duck. So Magic don't bag ducks. And Deion Sanders, these people don't bag ducks. I didn't appreciate today. I didn't know how this was going to be worked in, but here it is. Seaton and the quarterback left there. The quarterback is at Tennessee. He's mentioned something about 3 years. Then Big Seaton is there at LSU, of course, and he mentioned somebody was a circus there in Colorado, right? So we know that Bro Deion dealt with a great deal of medical issues on last year. His son was snubbed in the draft. A lot of stuff went down last year. They weren't able to get the type of wins they wanted. Believe they got to some of those people right before the season. They caused them to come to and go with them, and they tanked him, because he kind of tight with that money. And then maybe they ain't getting the kind of bankroll that Lane Kiffin them getting. But I can't see he getting the bankroll, but they ain't got that kind of money in the coffers for the football team. See, that SEC, that's the most powerful football conference in college football and basketball and any conference. I mean, any sport. The SEC is the top tier, if you will. So I didn't like how Big Seaton went before the podium and he took a shot at Deion like that. Seemed like, just like Deion said, look like you the type of guy to kiss and tell. Just because your old lady went on about her business, you gonna look back and try to slam her to the new guy she got. Big Seaton. I think Shador gave him a Bentley. Right? I think he was right there with Vincent when Shador was drafted in the 5th round, right? So Big Seaton worked out with the boy 71, Big Williams for Frisco. They be down there in Miami, and I'm sure Big Williams laid it out for him because he one of the best in the business. So Big Seaton, there's no doubt that he'll be a first-round draft pick barring career-ending injury. So he hadn't been down there with Deion for 3 years. So he don't want to give Deion no credit now. Talking about now all of a sudden now you done showed up a finished product ready to go in the first round down here at LSU. Now Deion them, you running a circus. See, you weren't supposed to say that. So you setting yourself up. The big Carter them down there at Philadelphia, they didn't have to say that. And the other big boy, they finna pay the quarterback money coming up that middle for Philadelphia. They didn't have to go against that coach. So they're showing you, you showed them that you are willing to compromise your fellow man for the spotlight. For some clicks is how they title it in our vernacular, in our culture now. So I didn't like that. And then the quarterback, he come forward with a 3-year shot, right? And I immediately, I reflected and see it with Deion. Deion tried to delegate to sapping them guys certain responsibilities to convey to the young people so they can be able to thrive. Deion he came out of love from Big Sap being a Florida guy just like him, right? Them Florida guys stick together just like the Mississippi guys. The only guys who don't stick together that I know of is the Tennessee guys. Again, you ain't got to come from South Carolina or Florida or California for the guys in Memphis to want you dead. They want the nigga dead who live around the corner from them. Psychopaths. And that's why the community is in such deterioration, such squalor. You can build up houses, all the houses you want to. If you're not building up the people, then the house is going to be tore back down again in an X amount of years, just like they was tore down that time. And they'll put another step and fetch it up there to sell you the lie like, we're doing this, we're doing that. You ain't doing none. Status quo. You just glad to be doing your little part. If we don't have no more pastors in our, and I'm not knocking the Christian faith, but we got enough pastors. I saw Creflo Dollar this morning. He's still doing it down there in Atlanta, and he lost me and baby when he went to talking about Jesus. You see, and not in a way that Jesus talked about himself. I'll just leave it like that. Why don't we talk about God if we're going to stand up there before the people? We know that Jesus wasn't God. So if you're going to stand there before the people, you at least got to stand there and let them know that you don't even know about this God. Because he's unknowable. My mom used to say, boy, one of my thoughts would bust your goddamn brain wide open. And I thinking my mama was crazy. What the hell is you talking about? Must be full of Miller beers. She had stopped drinking. So you think one of our little brains can handle a God thought? And he running the world all around. So let me get into this read. But now hear my speech. This is Elihu. No, I'm going to go back to 32 and then get you up to 33. Because this has always inspired me in the past. I could be Miss Wiring and kidnapped me and got me in somebody's jail. And they working with her because they got access to my social security number. And I'm laying there. I can't say nothing but about this like I just said down there when she grabbed me August 22nd, 2025. When I came in, she had to set me up in a mental ward type setting. When I came into jail, I noticed it was one cell and open. Right in front of the intake's lieutenant's office. Where he was the controlling officer there on the shift, that's where they sit. And if it ain't no emergency back in the jail, then for the most part, it was 23-1. But by the grace of God, I was put this time in misdemeanor 2. The last time when she had me kidnapped, which was Labor Day of 2024, they had me in PC. I didn't know it. Didn't nobody say these things, right? They was trying to slip and put that fake rape that she did in 8/22/2025 on me in some kind of way, take my life. As while they robbing me of my money, me and baby, and my deceased brother and mother. So she put me in that little cell. I come in there, I immediately asked one of the guys who was walking past, I said, man, I need a Bible. So he hit next door because unbeknownst to me, I'm in a mental type setting and where the sex offenders at. So he immediately hit down on the thing and told the white guy, said, hey, give me that Bible back I just gave you. And it was one of the Bibles that have like the 12-step concepts in it, and it has recovery. It's a recovery Bible. Wonderful Bible. I had signed up for a course. I wanted to take me one out of there. But I was, of course, the most honorable Lee Rudolphy, district court judge there in Little Rock, Arkansas. I was, by the grace of God, after Miss Warwick put a mentally ill guy, really a mentally ill guy, in the little one-man cell with me. And he had came in the jail for hitting the police while they were in a McDonald's just trying to enjoy their meal. This is the type of mentality this guy had that Amy Wiley put in the cell with me. So I had to deal with him for a few days before he did finally make a move and try to take me. I was trying to get out of there and let him have that. And when I looked up, he tried to spring on me. So by the grace of God, I slipped his blow right, and he was light in the air. So I come up out the bed with him in retrospect. Then when you got the strength of God with you, ain't no telling what you'll do. So I looked up, I had him down on his back. So in retrospect, I raised him up. So he know I'm trying to line him up in this little bitty cell, right? So he trying to kind of protect himself. So before I know it, I had him in the full Nelson. So it was this wall in there right by the commode. So I'm trying to slam his head down on the commode, on this wall. So he preventing that kind of stopping me from slamming him like I want to. So like I said, man, the Most High God will show up, man, when you're in the right and people trying to destroy you just because you worth a whole lot of money and they've been set up a whole lot of other people to be you and your wife and those nearest you and got y'all vital records and seized them and aggravated them. When you try to go and get them, you may be death, a threat of death towards you. That's why I be saying especially aggravated identity theft, especially aggravated cyber gang stalking victims, because me and baby, we're under duress right now. Having to go up here and panhandle on these people's corner, subject to all type of insults. Fuckers walking now with their Apple computers on their back, with their Pooh Shiesty masks on, all in behind us now. Because the people right where we at, unbeknownst to us, they had been involved some kind of way with the taking of our life. And mad as hell that I'm fighting like hell. Mad as hell they weren't able to destroy me 8/22/2025. But the most honorable Lee Rudolphski, a Harvard guy. Mr. Samuel H. Mays, he's a Yale guy. I believe these guys, they're going to take you, Miss Wyrick. They hadn't taken you this morning. Not to my knowledge, because I'm still, me and baby, not repaired. But I believe they're going to take you. This ain't some of your Cecil Humphrey people that you all brought up over there, and Mr. Morrow just now getting over there. Well, he been the professor over there, but it's been a politics there that he ran against and won against. That has been a man. It's been a vicious white supremacists, of course. But they have the buffer zone of those Negroes who they brought through Cecil Humphrey, and they go along to get along. And they're not going to ruffle that system there, because that's the system that has assassinated Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And the niggas pointed in the other direction, they say. On that thing. So I'm going to get into this read. Again, we in chapter 32 of Job. So these three men ceased to answer Job because he was righteous in his own eyes. Job showed just a tinge of self-righteousness. But he didn't curse God. So it's nothing that we can do, I don't believe, that can put us totally on the opposite side of God. I think pedophilia, just hurting these children, something like that might put you as an apostate. And I said might because, again, this God and this karma and this all these concepts, they are just hypotheses. There's no dictionary where I can go and see about this. So I try not to be too all in on any of them. I just continue to seek knowledge from the cradle to the grave as I was instructed. And as I get it, I try to share it if I can using this medium. I'm sure once I get myself together, I ain't going to be nowhere. Right now, I'll be, if I'm not reaching at them bass fish and them crappies and them brim right before daybreak, then I'm going to be hitting that golf ball. I'm going to be somewhere trying, baby. I'm going to make sure me and baby ate us a good breakfast. If she want to ride the golf cart with me, then that's fine. But if she want to go and sit in that room where we can be able to look at each other and I'm striking that golf ball, that's what I'm going to be doing somewhere. I already got a destination in mind. Once this thing blow over, I'm ready to go now. But I got to deal with Miss Wyrie with a slow connection or continue to stalk with all the federal prosecutors on the ground there in Memphis. Jag is allowing her to continue to stalk my phone, continue to stalk me and harass me. How is that possible? I don't understand. We got Jag on the ground in Memphis. And Miss Wyrie still thinks she can slow connection this phone. Like these people won't take her. Miss Wyrie must got the baddest motherfuckers, better than anybody Mr. Trump and them got. If she just continue to stalking my phone, continue when I go in the store, motherfuckers all around using these cards and shit she got. And somehow she got a biometric shit where I ain't even got to have my phone for the bitch to use the credit cards. I can just be in the building somehow. This is a diabolical, mouth-feasting bitch. When they get this bitch, and they all got a lot of more of them motherfuckers to get. This bitch well connected with her treacherous ass. Evil bitch. Let me get back into my read. You ain't gonna disturb that. So these three men ceased to answer Job because he was righteous in his own eyes. Then Elihu, the son of Barakchuel, the Buzite of the family of Ram, burned with anger. He burned with anger at Job because he justified himself rather than God. He burned with anger also at Job's three friends because they had found no answer, although they had declared Job to be in the wrong. Now Elihu had waited to speak to Job because they were older than he. And when Elihu saw that there was no answer in the mouth of these three men, he burned with anger. And Elihu, the son of Barakchuel, the Buzite, answered and said, I am young in years, and you are aged. Therefore I was timid and afraid to declare my opinion to you. I said, let days speak, and many years teach wisdom. But it is the spirit in man, the breath of the Almighty, that makes him understand. It is not the old who are wise, nor the aged who understand what is right. Therefore I say, listen to me. Let me also declare my opinion. Behold, I waited for your words. I listened for your wise sayings while you searched out what to say. I gave you my attention, and behold, there was none among you who refuted Job or who answered his words. Beware lest ye say, we have found wisdom. God may vanquish him, not a man. He has not directed his words against me, and I will not answer him with your speeches. They are dismayed. They answer no more. They have not a word to say. And shall I wait because they do not speak, because they stand there and answer no more? And I also will answer with my share. I also will declare my opinion, for I am full of words. The spirit within me constrains me. Behold, my belly is like wine that has no vent, like new wineskins ready to burst. I must speak that I may find relief. I must open my lips and answer. I will not show partiality to any man or use flattery toward any person, for I do not know how to flatter, else my Maker would soon take me away. Chapter 33. But now hear my speech, O Job, and listen to all my words. Behold, I open my mouth. The tongue in my mouth speaks. My words declare the uprightness of my heart, and what my lips know, they speak sincerely. The Spirit of God has made me, and the breath of the Almighty gives me life. Answer me, if you can. Set your words in order before me. Take your stand. Behold, I am toward God as you are. I too was pinched off from a piece of clay. Behold, no fear of me need terrify you. My pressure will not be heavy upon you. Surely you have spoken in my ears, and I have heard the sound of your words. You say, I am pure, without transgression. I am clean, and there is no iniquity in me. Behold, he finds occasions against me, he being the Most High God. He counts me as his enemy. He puts my feet in the stocks and watches all my paths. Notice these he's now, they're in lowercase. They're not in caps. So they're talking about the he being the psyche or the soul of man. You see, I can't find no God higher or greater to me personally than my soul. This psyche that's carrying me around and making me the hero cross country. And then again, this thing is so powerful, it does the involuntary work. I mentioned this work of when I'm asleep. And I've eaten a lot of grease at 58 years young. So I may get the heartburn or something of that nature, right? Got to get up and hit that mustard like my mama used to do, right? So what is that, man, that is able to break down all these chemicals and different stuff that they putting in the food these days, and then it gives me the nutrients and the vitamins out of what it can get out of it, and then the waste comes out of the drought. And I have no, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, because again, we have some people this morning, they having problems there, and they are unable, they have to be on all type of constipation pills and different stuff because they can't even have a normal bowel movement. So this power can do everything, man. I'm starting to get the gist of what this power is able to do when I look at the trees. And this book, in Deepak Chopra talks about how effortlessly this nature, this power is able to grow trees. I looked up this morning, I went and got a coffee. It was at nighttime. I'm in a city where they got these groundhogs around. And I love nature. So I be studying, me and baby be look up the groundhog. He done came out to show itself. I was telling you how connected our experiences are with our thoughts. I was studying Carl Jung and Freud one time. And Freud had a patient on the table. They were saying that this was one of the splits of Freud and Jung. Because Jung, his concept was a evolving one, but Freud, his concepts were more rigid, if you will, for lack of a better word. And I won't try to get into the psychological terminology there because I don't want to lose my viewers who, I'm talking really to my guys out of North Memphis, letting them know that we can bounce back from chemical dependency. We can bounce back from anything. But we got to change the way we think. See, the same thinking that got me to... See, that's why I'm finna go on this block right now, because I'm not prepared, so I'm not in a position to really sit down, but I'm not going to keep going and give me and baby's our identity to these people to give to Amy Wyrick. So until I can continue to conge and I get my life back, me and baby able to do like we wanted then, I'm not going to be satisfied with yesterday's work. Book-wise or nothing. I got a few books open right now, not open, but they in reach. And I try to continue to work on changing my mind because, see, I realized that my mind, like my guy Reverend Knight, I share a couple Reverend Knights. I study Reverend Knight. They used to try to convince me that Reverend Knight was a shyster. And I should not listen to him. But I look, today it's the opposite way around. We have the modern day shyster who we listening to now. And they ain't giving us nothing. Reverend Knight talking about how my thinking, he said the word made flesh. Check that out. So I don't use and waste words no more like I used to. I didn't understand the power of wordplay. And then I was hearing the Bible, they was talking about how no words come back void. That means that I'm actually speaking my existence and thinking my existence into this third dimension as I go. So if I'm somewhere with a twisted mind, then I'm going to have a twisted life. And I'm going to be drawn towards me twisted people like Amy Wyrick. But then some of us, I was trying to figure out, I didn't know how this was going to evolve. And the little voice, here it comes. I didn't know what would come out on this video. My mind was everywhere. Of course, I want to represent myself, my deceased mother, and my deceased brother. I want to represent them properly, and I'm trying to. The reason I do the videos, it has gotten me noticed as far as the White House, I believe. And I'm seeking repairment. That's why I do videos. I don't do them for clicks, and I don't do them for money because, shit, Miss Wyrick, I don't do it for money. In the book, Jesus told his people to just, he said, take no money, basically. Take nothing with you but something to pick up the money if you're able to convey this message that I'm sending you with. So if I'm going to reference this Jesus, and again, from 12 to 30, he's disappeared out of the Bible. But I'm supposed to put together a whole life with that whole that you're giving me. So again, Creflo Dollar, he was talking about how Jesus, they peppering you with this, how Jesus died on the sins for me. That's basically giving green light to all the larceny that the sexual demons can think of. Because Jesus died on the cross for me. So I can do whatever I want to the children. Or to your wife. And that's just the norm in here. So, of course, I ain't never been a supporter of that. Again, I went to Hill Chapel back in the day when it was on Dexter Street. That when Robert Jones, he was real strong then. He came one day, I was strong. He had to put me up out there in the hotel, ironically, right down the street from where they have the big church at now. Where the swimming pool was in there and everything. I was so off guard, I didn't know how to even receive his help. So he came down, I called him, and he came down, I was on Klondike. I was trying to get me some rocks, to be honest with you. And he told me to meet him. He said, well, where you at, Brian? He had a Volvo back then. He said, well, where you at? I told him my locations. He said, well, meet me at the Mapco right there at Jackson and Evergreen. I said, okay. I was down in Klondike. So I met him. So we get in the store, and he telling me he got the black card then, I believe. He telling me to no, we ain't gonna be able to go, and I know you need something to get you some dope, and I know you're homeless, I know. So my wife, I didn't know back then, I didn't know his wife had a powerful sway over him. We all try to listen to our wives, so I don't condemn him for that. But his wife had a powerful sway on him. If she didn't like you, if some of her parishioners were some of them Divine Nine and they got wind, Miss Wiley been whispering to people since I was a kid, but showing up back in that time because I hadn't been to that place I was been telling you about over in Commons Prison Farm. I had threw some bricks in the one, but all the time his wife was trying to get me murdered. She was trying to press this rape charge. So just like in 1993, I was forced to file a lawsuit in Pine Bluff. I was in Bricky's unit close to Memphis. She had gotten me close to Memphis I can get under the pretense that she bringing me close to where my mother can visit me. All the time she bringing me to a maximum security prison that's really ran by gangs. Commons was okay. Commons prison, even though the movie Rue Baker was made there, I did time in Commons. I met a guy named Omar El-Amin in the SATP. Omar El-Amin was his name. I met him in the SATP program. He was a powerful Muslim. He had 8 life sentences. So I went to this SATP program. It was a 30-day program, and it was teaching you about substance abuse treatment. That was actually the analogy for SATP, substance abuse treatment program. A great many men gave back life sentences using that program. It works. I remember waking up, and we would wake up in the substance abuse treatment program. I went to it a couple times. And I think I was on reasonable maintenance. And we used to wake up in the morning somewhere, and they used to have us say, well, reach for the positive, shake out the negative. Reach for the positive, shake out the negative. And now that I've gotten up in my middle age, I realized the importance of that. It's so important, the mindset of the individual. But if the mindset has never been one developed, that's why Dr. Emile Coué of France, he called it the undeveloped ego. The undeveloped ego, of course, is going to be out front. And that's what the concept we get when they say the cart pulling the horse. They talking about the ego is out front pulling the psyche. And that's going to be a disaster. Because the psyche can't do nothing but receive what the ego, the conscious mind, is giving it. So if I'm giving it, I want a rock, then that ego, the subconscious mind, gonna find a way for you to get that rock. Now that person may get that rock a lot of time, but it's gonna look up. It's gonna be so much negative generated. Gonna look up. They're gonna be stalking them to kill them in our today's society. So you don't want to be consciously feeding the subconscious mind on negative anything, because it's going to destroy you. It don't have the ability to reason. It's like a garden, and it's going to plant whatever seeds your thoughts give it. So I try to create and put thoughts like the Daily Reflection, thoughts like Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, The Science of Mind, the Bible, Trauma and Recovery, Rational Recovery, the Book of America, the Red Book. You name it, I try to put it in subliminal Leonard monologue. Leonard Ladino, powerful on the subconscious, the unconscious mind. That's like, they question me at B.B. King's on Beale Street, who had me working somehow in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. They questioned me on the onboarding task. They're basically trying to look into your unconscious mind. So the general manager there who gave me the exam, he was telling me how really I just need to do 4. I just need to be able to fill out at least 4 to get the job right. So when I looked and saw that it was, as I went to answering the questions, you know, just like with the Acuplacer and the Compass exam, as I'm answering the questions, I look up, I'm way over in there and I'm doing good. I'm knowing I'm doing good. So I said, oh. So I'm in there and he telling me I just need 4, but I didn't answer every question on the thing right. I got 100% thing. I left it up in Memphis somewhere. I didn't miss none. Of course, they passed that down out to the incompetence, the guys who was on parole and probation. Miss Wyrie used to give my identity to. See, people who are on parole and probation, what you think they're going to do in one like Miss Wyrie with the type of power and the connections that she got? Tell them it's a bankroll in it for them. And they ain't got to murder nobody. Man, they going to stalk a motherfucker unmercifully for that kind of cheese. I'm telling you I got. So I was able to file a lawsuit in 9/2 when she kidnapped me, 8/22, 2025. I filed a lawsuit because the brother had a 1983 civil rights lawsuit. I filed it 9/16. It got there 9/16 to the federal court there in Little Rock. They immediately, by 3 that evening, it was a federal case. 9/29, 13 days later, the doors open. 7 o'clock at night Monday, I'm looking at the football game with the guys. I really had laid down. I was frustrated. One in Wilkins, I still in jail for. She hadn't even came forward and told me it was rape. She got some unclassified on the paper. Her and the judge working their jail on me. And this magistrate out of Little Rock, Jerome Kearney. So it was a lieutenant in the jail. He had me cutting her a couple times. And the last time I cut her, I noticed he sat across from me. He had a table set up and he had a computer. In retrospect, just like Miss Wyrie and them be stalking with computers, he was filming me for somebody. So I had cut so many hands until the young brothers were telling me, hey, man, slow down. We trying to do our little move. So I didn't realize I'm just glad to be out there. And when he got me a coffee, I had talked to baby. She was here and doing good. Everything was good with me. And then I could feel that I was about to get up. I'm kind of going to the too because my wife is up. And I just, when she's sitting quiet like that, I know I'm doing pretty good. So anyway, it was about 7 o'clock. I think it was a basketball game going on. You know, we be trying to, when we be in those jams, we be trying to, if it's baseball season, whatever kind of season, man, us used to play sports. And then there's anybody who got any kind of sense in trying to get out, they going to be involved with the sports. And then, you know, with the DraftKings and all that, you know, some people can be in jail and be calling their folks on the town there was already set up with DraftKings. So they betting just like they was on the town. So I'm studying my environment. I'm glad I done got out of this death setting that's why he had me. And I walked in the cell after I had the molly-wop the boy, and the brother was on the floor. He couldn't, his back was hurt. He was suing. So he had another 1983 civil rights. So I fill it out. The lieutenant brought me, I used his ink pen. And he made me have to be able to show no right. Otherwise, he was, give me that pen back out of there. In retrospect, he had risked it all because if I was who Miss Wyrie said I would have took his ink pen and trying to help me and went to stabbing the people with it. That's how throughout the years she's had the police to point guns at me and be able to even grab my body like she just did, 8/22, 2025, and under the pretense that I'm a rapist and you can come at him and if he resists, kill him. So I filled it out. The most honorable Lee Rudowski, he grabbed it immediately and released me 13 days later. I had never been released. They tried to release me in Memphis after I filed a habeas corpus in 2011. She kidnapped me out of San Diego, California at gunpoint. Fraudulent documents. Took my ID out of my pocket. Her, this Romero guy who, when I got back to Memphis and walked in George Scahan's courtroom, I look at the paperwork, they're telling me this is an indictment. This couldn't be no indictment in this guy Romero, who I pointed out to George Rooks in the courtroom. This is a vicious criminal, racist criminal, right? Romero, a Mexican guy. So since that time to now, Romero has had his people set up with my identity. And every city I go in, his Mexican people is right there in that city looking at me with blood in their eye. So she brought me back cross country. So I walk into George skate hands courtroom, and I let her know that this was fraud and I beat this downstairs. But Miss Wyrick removed the exculpatory evidence. We know that. But everybody has feigned incompetence to Brian J. Charles's pleas for assistance in regards to this tyranny, this outright vicious Klansman type white citizen society lynching of a man, and he's still alive. So I feel the thing out. The most honorable Lee Randolph freed me. I've been here since that time. Miss Wyrick had me kidnapped. One day and had the guy, the rapist Cleophas, picture in the thing for me. In retrospect, Miss Wyrick ain't got no picture of me standing with those, like you go into a setting and you in a real jail setting, you standing with your number in front of you. She ain't got no pictures of that of me, because I've been walking it straight. I've been gaining cosmetology and barber license. I've been doing all I need to do to reform my life, to have a good life, because I want to be of service to the young people in North Memphis. That's where I had been here and fed the game by Coach Floyd Peoples as a younger person, Coach Fields, my guy Coach Smith over there with Lacey Smith, but I had a Coach Smith who was the midgets coach over there at Evergreen Warriors. I learned from these guys. Elgin Perkins is a guy. Kenny Bennett, all of us came up together. Kevin Chambers, we all was playing football together, came up. And this crack hit, they hadn't measured the ramifications of the damage did in the inner cities from that crack today. So, of course, it fragmented us. Some of us went out to the bag, meaning we bag over everything. So that's how the game goes. So at any rate, I made it to this point right now. So I fill out the habeas corpus and I got out. She held me. She kidnapped me out of San Diego, July of 2011. She let me go August of 2012. She held me. I went through Miss Skahan before they faked me out like she was finna let me go. That was in December. All the time, Miss Wyrick and them got me set to go in front of George Beasley. He got a fake probation he finna give me. And they gonna send me out to the penal farm on an indefinite. Ho said that I was a terrorist and refused to let me go. By the grace of God, I saw she was trying to set me up early on when I got into jail, because when one of the guys, he was like over the gang unit, they got like, he was in all black. So as we came in, he came over to me because I had been coming and going out there at the penal farm with them little walking out with beer shit, little misdemeanor shit. So he came up to me, he said, Brian Charles got to me. She removed the J, because now I got the J everywhere and blazing. I got J on this video. So here I came up to him, he said, Brian, he said, are you a Moor? I said, yeah. I said, and you are too. Not understanding that Moor was the profane name of the natural inhabitants of the land, which go under the American Indian indigenous population's name. But I never one time in court mentioned that I was no nothing. She was telling them I was trying to make like I was trying to go in the court setting and talking about I'm sovereign. And our fucking country ain't even sovereign. So I'm no damn fool. I was never trying to get that, but she was trying to get me destroyed. Then stole all this money. So I went to B building under Mr. Lifford and Mr. Dixon. Miss Wyrick had retro into there. In retrospect, she always find a person that's in the penal farm or somewhere like that. Miss Wyrick totally dominated all Memphis jails. All that was dominated by Amy Wyrick. So I got in B building. Mr. Lifford and Mr. Dixon, these ain't no ducks. I think Mr. Dixon is a guy, he's a sheriff now. But these guys recognize talent when they see it. So Mr. Dixon and them went to investigate, and I was writing all kind of complaints. And Mr. Dixon leaned in on me and my wife one day on my visitation. He said, I just came from Chicago. I was talking to my uncle about you. He looked at my wife. He said, you ain't even supposed to be in here. He said that to me. He wasn't the first officer who had said that to me. So I kept with the fight. So they had a program in B building where you can go over to another part of the jail over outside the gate, really. But it was to another gate over there where they do the leasing and all that over there on Mullins, Mullins Station Road. So they enabled me to go and work at Franklin Sports. Now, mind you, they had people who had to pay child support, who was paying legitimate child support right there with me. going to work with me. So I couldn't figure out why wasn't I getting charged for child support like the rest of the guys who had children. Come to find out, Venus Britton and Amy Wyrick and Rita Bowden Ewing hadn't set me up as a child's father, just telling me that. All the time, the real child's father name probably down on somebody's paper, but they've been making me stealing my unemployment, my income tax, anything I get under the pretense that I'm this person's father. Just to take my life that they seized from me in 1993. But somehow Venus knew I was worth a whole lot of money way back in the 80s and 70s. So I've been dealing with a lot of treachery with Amy Wyrick. I'm trying to wrap this video up. I stayed up within an hour, so I'm doing good. So after Mr. Rundowski let me go, I've been right here waiting to get free from this tyranny. Miss Wyrick, of course, ramped it up on me, trying to destroy me for exposing her to such an extent. So the matter came to Memphis 1/9/2026 to the Most Honorable Samuel H. Mays. From the time from it left Little Rock to now, Miss Wyrick and her people is unable to respond in a writ form to contest what I've shared to the federal courts. Come to find out, the Most Honorable Samuel H. Mays had already had the matter. Miss Wyrick and her friend there, the clerk at the federal building, was able to remove the matter off the judge's calendar in committing the fraud of stealing my life up to this point. So Mr. Mays has the case, it's a real signed. Mr. Kearney and them there in Little Rock immediately went to sending fraudulent documents. Sent some here like it was supposed to be sent to me. Got my wife down on this thing like they just trying to keep inroads on the matter, but I'm thinking the federal judge is going to knock their ass off for thinking they more keener than them. So they haven't been able to respond from January. Now it's April. So I'm believing this thing is over with. They've defaulted in every court I've taken them into. Every Tennessee human rights, in every setting I've brought them in a legal setting, they were forced to default. Can't even respond. All they did was retaliate on me. So, but I believe that's over now. So let me finish this read, because I've walked you all up on my experiences with Amy Wyrick, and now, by the grace of God, I got in the federal courts. So I see where Miss Bondi bit the bullet the other day. That's the nature of politics. Miss Bondi been in there while, dragging her feet around. Miss Wyrick's supposed to have been prosecuted. Well, she was out not being prosecuted on her watch. Mr. Trump them just was there in Memphis last week. Now she gone this week. So I got to believe that Mr. Trump them are moving on my behalf, because we are fellow Masonic brothers together. Don't care what you haters and you ducks been trying to label me to be a throwaway, some motherfucker that y'all can just trample over his rights and steal his identity. The people high up in our government, they didn't recognize now that I have the real light in me, the eternal flame. So there's nothing you can do now. But you've had your way. You should have been able to get out the way now. But that's what a selfish person will do. They destroy themselves from within, and they just and try to point the finger at somebody else. So let me get finished with this read. Behold, he finds occasions against me. He counts me as his enemy. He puts my feet in the stocks, and watches all my paths. He's stalking me. He doing me like Amy Wyrick. I'm telling you, Amy Wyrick done me and my wife. Won't let me move. This is what the young brother Elihu saying he's witnessed Job espouse. Behold, in this you are not right. I will answer you, for God is greater than man. Why do you contend against him, saying, he will answer none of man's words? For God speaks in one way, and in two, though man does not perceive it. In a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falls on men, while they slumber on their beds, then he opens the ears of men, and terrifies them with warnings, that he may turn man aside from his deed and conceal pride from a man. And we have people And I'm not condemning people. You be who you are. Again, Mr. Shakespeare said all the world's a stage, and all the men and women are merely actors on that stage. So we have some actors on the stage who are pushing this pride at you. And there's nothing wrong with pride. Later today at 5, I'm going to be talking about the ego. And I know the ego to be a false sense of self. That's one definition. But I got a dictionary on psychology, so we're going to get the dictionary version and all that. So let me finish this read. He said, in a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falls on men while they slumber on their beds, then he opens the ears of men and terrifies them with warnings that he may turn a man aside from his deed and conceal pride from a man. He keeps back his soul from the pit, his life from perishing by the sword. Man is also rebuked with pain on his bed and with continual strife in his bones, so that his life loathes bread and his appetite the choicest food. His flesh is so wasted away that it cannot be seen, and his bones that were not seen stick out. His soul draws near the pit, and his life to those who bring death. If there be for him an angel, a mediator, one of 1,000, to declare to man what is right for him, and he is merciful to him, and says, deliver him from going down into the pit. I have found a ransom. Let his flesh become fresh with youth. Let him return to the days of his youthful vigor. Then man prays to God, and he accepts him. He sees his face with a shout of joy, and he restores to man his righteousness. He sings before men and says, I sinned and perverted what was right, and it was not repaid to me. He has redeemed my soul from going down into the pit, and my life shall look upon the light. Behold, God does all these things twice, 3 times with the man, to bring back his soul from the pit, that he may be lighted with the light of life. Pay attention, O Job. Listen to me. Be silent, and I will speak. If you have any words, answer me. Speak, for I desire to justify you. If not, listen to me. Be silent, and I will teach you wisdom. I'll end the read with that. Peace there. But isn't that triumph? No, I'm going to get to. But that piece there was, I like that piece because it talks about how the man or the woman that gets to a point to where they refuse dainty meats. This is either I'm fasting and I'm making my intent to improve myself, or I'm addicted to alcohol or drugs. And I done got so far over in there now in my addiction until my bones begin to stick out to where the death angel begins to circle me. But the book says if there's an angel, one who is able to intervene on my behalf and look down and say, oh, I got a ransom for him, we can save this one because he might turn out to be the one we're looking for. See, that person is refreshed and renewed to where they have the skin of a child. And they be 58. The one that they counted out. So I'm going to get to this triumphant end for Brother Job. I may not have to, baby getting ready now, so I'm going to close the book. I know it though. Job was restored. He was triumphant in the end. He didn't bow down. The wife tell him, give up on God, man. What is you doing? Don't give up the ghost, man. We ain't going to never get that stuff back. That's why I was right here with you, really, because you had all that stuff. You see? So, but Job said, called her a foolish woman, and he kept believing that the Most High God was going to make him triumphant in the end. And that's my hope today. So again, the book, my topic today was from tragedy to triumph. And I used Brother Job in the Bible. I didn't want to get too egotistical and try to make like I've triumphed, because I'm not. I'm right in the middle. But the older people, Mr. Robert Sims Sr. and guys like Pee Wee up there, Mike Mason Dad, and them guys used to tell me, boy, it's a piss poor win now to keep going the same way all the time. And I don't know what you're talking about. They was telling me, hey man, you might need to change that path you on. You ain't gonna make it. You see? So we lost those type of people in the community somehow, man, and that crack destroyed us, man. We hadn't recovered yet. So I'm going to get out of here, man. I've done my video for today in regards to Brother Magic Johnson. I really appreciate his support of me. He inspires me because magic overcome. Magic story is one from tragedy to triumph, but I'm not, again, I don't tell other people's story. I don't have no copyright or no right to do that. Dion really can say he was from tragedy to triumph from all that poverty I hear about it in Fort Myers. So I'm going to get out here, man. You guys have a wonderful day on today. I hope I was able to share something that helped somebody that God knows is going to help me in retrospect when I look back on it. My wife ain't said anything. She's just moving around, getting it prepared for us to go. But I feel pretty good about the video. I didn't get into a profane disposition until just briefly, and I was able to snap out of it. But this is traumatic on a person. This has been traumatic on me and my wife. We deserve a month or two vacation before we even decide what we're going to do. So that's what I'm conjuring forward, man, and with my words and with my thoughts. So it hadn't manifested again on today. Again, I'm glad that you guys, Magic Johnson, Deion Sanders, Deion Jr., all you guys, DeAndre, Bossy, the little man. I don't understand where they added he too rap shit. I don't know what's going on with him. The little boy calling Deion Jr. Papa. He's subconsciously telling you, man, where my dad at? I love all the love y'all doing for me and all that. I appreciate that, but it's just feel like it when I'm around that guy. And I'm sure I was the same way, but I was a child. They say I got over in the grave, in the casket. My father was killed when I was months old. He was a gambler over there in South Memphis. Lefty is what they called him. He was Roscoe Gordon's brother. I think he was Roscoe's older brother. My daddy was an older spirit. That's kind of, I believe, that contributes to the wisdom I have. I saw my guy, I got some clips. Just yesterday, I was watching my guy. What's our guy used to be with Phil Valentine? Bobby Hemmy. And Bobby Hemmy said, these people don't die. Our ancestors, they don't die. They live in us. He said, that's why when Ray Charles went to treatment, that's why he saw his mama and his deceased brother who had fell over in that bucket. And they let him know that they was fine. They were looking for him to come through. So that related to me. That was a hypothesis that I needed. Was it factual? I don't know. But myth is more powerful than fact, per se, in our psyches. We don't even have to be traumatized. We can just believe we were traumatized and we'll be... I used to study a lot of stuff. And I used to study Edgar Casey. In Edgar Casey, they would tell the people when he would go into these trances, he could diagnose and come forward where the goal was, all kind of stuff. So this one lady went to sticking a fork or something, trying to stick a fork in his eye. And they was able to learn through the hypnotism. That's what they need to do for Tiger Woods. All Tiger needs is a good hypnotist. And he can get off the pain pills. And the people there in California, different places in Florida, they know that. I don't understand why they hadn't gotten him that psychiatrist who know how to hypnotize him and remove the desire to use, remove that pain from his mind. Everything is mental. I've seen Kobe Bryant, when he tore his Achilles tendon, he shot the free throws and limped off. Guys like Walter Hayes and Bacon Grease and them guys, Walter Hayes, I remember they had to kind of broke his ribs. But Coach Lacey had him out there grinding. We was up against Hamilton and them. And Hayes had to go. And boy, they had big cribs, and that boy was in the middle linebacker. What's his name? Wilson Neely. They was loaded. We beat them out that night. Tony Fox had that speed, and he was scary in retrospect. I went to college with Tony Fox. He never panned out in college because he couldn't run routes. He just had good speed, but once I learned how to bump and run, that speed shit was nullified. Then I could backpedal with the best of them as well, but I could just walk right up on him and I could take him because he ran 4.3s and 4.4, but that was straight coming out of the sprinter's position. When you right there in front of them cornerbacks and with them long arms and they know what to do with their hands and feet, then you got another problem on your hand. So he was always hating on me in college. He did I think he did real well financially. I looked up last time I was around him and he had a car lot and different things that he do, but he turned on me. He was with him that night when I was at pick 2 against Harding University. We was in the room. I had pick 2 that night against Harding down in Rock Stadium. And the next game, 15 pro scouts came up to the room looking for me. They were trying to draft me in the first round of the draft pick. I was that cold. I was cold. I could play that corner, man. If y'all could get them film, man, I'm gonna get them once I get this bankroll. And I'm gonna get out there on that West Coast some. I like the West Coast. They said that LA ain't what it used to be no more. Y'all see my guy George Benson on the video. I like him when he doing that on them skates, give me the night, and it look like he out there in Cali. I love Cali. I like San Diego. But I ain't gonna be running out there to San Diego now unless I'm paid in full and I can be able to preserve me and wife's safety with them firearms and different things. So I'm gonna get out here, man. You guys have a wonderful day on today. I feel pretty good about the video. I think I'll convey to my listening viewers that tragedy can be overcome. We just can't fold. I didn't want to say this. I didn't know how I was get this in the video as well, but I had just mentioned Pooh Shiesty. And I was talking about that drill scene. And I had did on another video back in the day, I was telling you if that, man, I wouldn't want to be a rapper in today's game for nothing in the goddamn world. You got to be crazy with this life expectancy might be one day. So we look up and Pooh Shiesty dealing with this legal issue here now. See, when you come into the rap game, you're young. When they grabbed Michael Jackson, he was a child. When they signed his name for him. When they grabbed Gary Coleman and those people who was there on that show, they were children. So children and their parents standing there poor. I'm telling you how some of the parents so trifling and treacherous, they put their kids on Thursday just to get a check. So Gary Coleman and them family sitting there and them guys standing there like Weinstein offering them the world for the child though. Leave your child with me for today and you'll have $1 million gonna be put into your bank account before you leave out the door. What? That's all? And when you come back in a few hours, he gonna be right here and we ain't gonna do nothing to jeopardize him. And they gonna leave out that door with that thing hit right on them in front of them. And they gonna do what they want, and we see that these people are treacherous with the children. So they get you to at least, if they don't do you like that, they at least get you to sign your life away for pennies. See, when Gucci Mane signed Pooh Shiesty into that 360 or whatever he signed, he was broke then. He didn't know he was gonna sell 300 million records and be worth billions in the rap game, but then signed this 360. Now you get all the money at all the shows you go. You're gonna have a nice home. All that money yours at the show. I'm gonna send the security. All you got to do is show up. All the money go to you and your entourage. If you can get them up to 250,000 a show, all that go to you. But you signed right here for this. So Pooh Shiesty and his dad and them, they gangsters, man. Over there out of South Memphis. Dirk, from what I hear, Dirk is in there reading them books and trying to reform himself because his father went through that same thing and his father went all out of his way to divert him from that direction. But we'll look up, man. It's amazing. Again, Reverend Ike talk about how the word became flesh. That's the formula for our lives. Find the right words play to be espousing into this, what we appear to be aether. Just nothing. Hey, man. There's nothing that creates this. I used to think, I was reading just the other day and I'm closing. And a lot of times I would say the spirit was in me. this spirit that's in me. Then I was reading Manly P. Hall, and he said that the spirit circumscribes anything that is made. So the spirit, not only is it in me, it's all over me. And the me I'm talking about is spirit. It's just, as the Mr. Ernest Holmes states in this book here, the body is no more than the hardening of the spirit, to the point that you can see it. It's never a separation from spirit to matter. That's just a concept we use here in the third dimension. It's all spirit. So I'm going to close with that. You guys have a wonderful day, man. I hope I said something to make the race proud. When I talk about race, I'm talking about the human race. But I'm out of here, man. I got to go and get it. Peace, family. Tell them peace, baby.
Peace.
Y'all out. We out of here.